What's good? What's good? What's good, beautiful people? This is your guy, Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. Welcome to Chalk It Up Sports Daily. You guys, I am so humbled to be here with you guys. And you guys have been showing me the utmost respect, the utmost love. And look, I can't take it for granted. You know what I mean? Like, that's the problem these days. You got a lot of people who do this content game or whatever it is they're doing in their lives and their careers, and they take the support for granted. You know, like I was always taught that, love isn't guaranteed, respect isn't guaranteed. You know, you got to earn those kind of things. You got to put in the work. You got to put in the equity with people to earn those things. The only people the only people on this planet that may love you unconditionally or that may respect you unconditionally is your mother, probably. Other than that, you got to earn everything else. You know, your mom ain't gonna never see no wrong in you. But when it comes to business, when it comes to relationships, networking, collaborations. You have to give love to receive love. You got to give respect to receive respect. You know what I mean? So I just appreciate you guys for constantly showing mad love to me, popping in on the live streams. I appreciate you guys for always respecting me. And the content is going to keep growing. Chalk It Up Sports Daily is going to keep coming to you every single day, Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Also, make sure you guys have the notification bell lit up so you guys can be made aware any and every time I go live throughout the day. But so much to talk about, so much to get into. I think the biggest news of the day may be New York City is finally lifting the vaccine mandate. But here's the caveat, you guys. New York City is lifting the vaccine mandate for private sector employees. Essentially, they're only lifting the vaccine mandate for athletes and very important people. And that essentially means that Kyrie Irving, most specifically, will be able to play home games going forward in the NBA. Now, that's great for the Brooklyn Nets, but that's bad for the rest of the league and bad for the rest of New York City. And I'll tell you why. Now, I'm not one to tell people if you should get vaccinated, if you shouldn't get vaccinated. That's not my fight. In full transparency, I am vaccinated. Full transparency. I had to get vaccinated for a job I used to have. But I don't have a booster. I don't have none of those things. Again, full transparency because I want you guys to be a part of this. You think about it from this perspective. I'm the average Joe. I'm a small business owner or I own a restaurant, and my business is failing or essentially taking a hit because people aren't able to come in if they aren't vaccinated, right? Or I can't have employees on staff that aren't vaccinated. Yet, you have people who are of higher status, who are of a higher ilk, who have connections, who are considered to be important people. They are able to do whatever they need to do to be successful in their respective crafts because they're important, because there's a lot of money attached to them, right? I personally don't think that's right. You know, let's be totally honest about this. Like, if you're going to lift the vaccine mandate for athletes or important people, high profile people, you should lift it for everybody else. I don't understand that. They've taken the least amount of hits due to the pandemic, while the little guy, the grunts, the people who are literally making ends meet, the people who are barely staying above water, they still can't either work because they're not vaccinated or they can't go in certain restaurants or certain establishments because they're not vaccinated. That's unfair to me. Look, like I said, Kyrie Irving's availability is good for the Brooklyn Nets. Let's not act like it's not. But it's bad for the rest of the league because now people have to compete against a guy who's been resting all season and has no real miles on his body. But that's the least of the issues. The main issue is you have a man who has not gotten vaccinated. Okay, I could care less about that. But you guys put rules in place for a reason. I'm not here to argue the rules. I'm not here to argue the validity of anything. But what I am here to argue is for the people. I am here to argue for the little guy, the little lady who is struggling because of the pandemic. There are people who have certain religious views, whatever it may be, certain health precautions that prevent them from getting vaccinated. Yet they still can't work or go in certain establishments. What is Kyrie Irving's reason for not getting vaccinated? We don't know, and we may not even deserve the right to know. That's his personal choice. But when you make a rule, when you put certain things in place, it's important to make that same rule apply to all and not just some. And that's where my issue arises. Not because Kyrie Irving isn't vaccinated, or he chooses not to get vaccinated, or not because people are vaccinated, or not because I don't care. I could care less about the nuance of all this stuff. What I care about is how it's affecting the average Joe, the average Jane. That is not right to me. It's a slippery slope. You know, I was reading this article, and Jay Varma, who is City Hall's former COVID-19 senior advisor in New York City, he also worked for the Centers for Disease and Control and Prevention. He says, I think the same rules on vaccination should apply uniformly to all. If there is a carve-out for this group being the private sector, employees, athletes, why can't any other group then raise its hand and say, hey, I deserve a carve-out too? Basically, it sends a message that this is an arbitrary rule, that if you're rich enough and powerful enough and high profile enough, that you don't have to play by the same rules as everyone else. What do you guys think about that? We got 4 people in the live chat. That number is going to grow exponentially. Make sure you guys smash that like button. I would love to know what you guys feel about New York City lifting their vaccine mandate, not for everyone, but for athletes, for particular people of a certain status. And it's official today, you guys. Today is Thursday, March 24th. It takes effect today. And don't you guys think it's interesting that they set this up right before opening day for the MLB? It's interesting because money talking BS walks. If it's affecting the bottom line, you're going to move the needle in politics. You don't think these private sector corporations, these private sector sports leagues, you don't think they have people lobbying for them in these political arenas? They do. You think this is all by accident? The NBA playoffs are about to start. Do you think this is all by accident? It's not. So it's important for us to be well aware of the double standard that's being placed. Like I said, I could care less if Kyrie Irving is vaccinated or unvaccinated. I could care less if MLB players are vaccinated or unvaccinated. I do not care. But what I care about is when you have rules in place that aren't uniformly instituted against everyone. You cannot have one set of rules for this group and then another set of rules for this group. Are we going back to segregation? Like, what's going on? Make it make sense, everybody. Make it make sense. The Big Stepper Podcast, shout out to my guys, Dove and Jay the Bull. They said it's trouble. Shout out to my man Shocky for being in the building. He says, should be everyone. Why they pick and choose? Why are they picking and choosing who can do what? Absolutely. It's unacceptable. Let's just call it what it is. It's unacceptable. And if we're ever going to move forward from this pandemic, if we're ever going to put ourselves in a position where everyone can essentially move freely, we got to make sure everything applies to everybody. And if it don't apply to everybody, don't have it apply to anybody. But I don't want to stand on my soapbox too long. I just wanted to give you guys my thoughts on that. Because like I said, it's affecting the little guy. It's affecting the average Joe, the average Jane. This man, because he dribbles a ball and makes millions of dollars for these corporations, can do his job to the fullest extent. But because my job isn't as relevant or doesn't matter as much to you, I can't come in or be effective in my position because I'm not vaccinated. Or I can't go in this establishment or this location because I'm not vaccinated. That's my problem. That is my problem. It should be equal for all people. And I hate that COVID-19 has become political. I hate that the vaccine has become political. I hate that all this stuff has become political. It's strange to me. It's simply a health crisis, not a political crisis. Yet we are where we are. All I know is the average Joe, the average Jane, the little guy, the little gal, people who are small business owners, people who are barely making ends meet, trying to stay above water, people who are barely making their bottom line, people who are barely breaking even, they're taking the hit. Meanwhile, athletes and people of status and importance are able to do their jobs effectively. And like I said, the timing of this all is very interesting. The NBA playoffs are about to start. The MLB is about to have opening day. It's no mistake. It's no mistake. But let's move on. Let's talk about the Sixers last night. The Sixers beat the Lakers. They beat the Lakers, if I'm not mistaken. Let's make sure we got the numbers right. They beat them 126-121. And it was a good win, yet LeBron James didn't play. So it begs the question, how would this game have turned out otherwise? Now, LeBron James is currently leading the league in scoring with 30 points per game. Joel Embiid is right behind him with 29.8 points per game. So this would have been a battle of the gods. But LeBron James was resting because of a sore knee or whatever may have you. That's okay. LeBron is 37-38. What can you expect, right? I feel like people are so jaded by LeBron James's ability to remain effective at his age that they don't give him the same leeway when you're playing a certain sport at a certain age. Let's be totally honest. LeBron is one of one. There's no basketball player who's been top 5 at the age of 38. But we're spoiled by that. We're jaded by that. And we judge him accordingly. We judge LeBron as if he's still in his 20s because of the level he's playing at. But we forget that man is still 38. He's able to play at a high level because of his skill, because of how much he takes care of his body. But you can't beat Father Time. He's 38, 37, 38. You gotta rest them knees at some point, right? I believe LeBron is 37, 38. If I'm wrong, correct me. Correct me if I'm wrong, you guys. How old is LeBron James? How old is LeBron James? Shockey says, A-Tone, how you feel about Joel Embiid back? Hope it's nothing big. Yeah, man. We're gonna definitely talk about that. We're gonna definitely ease our way into the Sixers and how they're going to be looking for the playoffs and health, most importantly. But how old is LeBron James? What is he, 36, 37, 38? I can't remember. I'm depending on you guys to help this show move forward. CG Ruthless says, I think he's 37 years old. Okay, he's 37. Shockey says he's 30. Okay, LeBron is 37 years old. He took a rest last night. Now, personally, I would love to see the battle with the basketball gods, LeBron James versus Joel Embiid. I would love to see that. But LeBron James has been playing at a high level for many a weeks. He's been going at guys, dropping triple doubles left and right. At some point, them knees got to take a rest, especially if he's going to play for the long haul. So I'm not really mad about LeBron taking the day off. If I had an argument about it, it would only be because, damn, I would love to see LeBron James go against Joel Embiid and those guys. I would love to see that. But I digress. The Philadelphia 76ers, though, they played a pretty decent game, if you ask me. They really didn't turn the ball over, only had 7 turnovers throughout the entirety of the game. That's an average of about 1.5 turnovers a quarter, 1.25 turnovers a quarter. So they protected the ball pretty well throughout that game. But there were moments where they allowed the Los Angeles Lakers to come back in it. they allowed the Lakers to get into a rhythm. And basketball is a game of runs. It's a game of momentum. So you have to remain disciplined. You have to remain poised throughout. There's going to be a stretch where a team they're not missing. There's going to be a stretch where you're not making anything. So those things happen. It's how you respond, right? And this game was pretty decided until we allowed them to get cheap shots in the final 2 minutes of the game, really. There was a moment in that game we were up by like 10 points, I think, and all of a sudden it got down to 4 because we turned the ball over at the last minute, or we just weren't diligent enough in closing out the game. But I had to say something about the Philadelphia 76ers. Let's talk about the numbers real quick. Tobias Harris, 20 points. Joel Embiid, 30 points. Maxey, 21 points, 7 assists. Also, let's not forget Tobias Harris had 7 boards, 5 assists. Joel Embiid had 10 boards, 3 assists, 3 steals, 3 blocks. Very effective. Matisse Thybulle only had 4 points. The bench gave you some quality points. Niang had 9. DeAndre Jordan had 9. Korkmaz had 6. Shake Milton had 3. I think in total, the bench gave you, 27 points? Okay, I can work with that. But I want to talk about James Harden a little bit because if correct me if I'm wrong, but does James Harden look a bit sluggish to you guys? Does James Harden seem like he's dragging a little bit? Is he coasting? How would you guys describe that? Because, these past handful of games, it seems like James Harden has been struggling coming out of the gate. There was a moment in this game last night where he was 1 of 6. Not really a good look. He started the game 1 of 6, I'd rather say. So, I don't know. Harden doesn't look right to me. Is he coasting for the playoffs? Does he need some rest? I don't know. Some people are actually saying that they don't like the fact that he's rested twice against the Miami Heat. Not a good look. I would love to see him go up against that physical Miami Heat team. Speaking of Miami Heat, did y'all see what happened last night with them? Man, so much turmoil on that sideline. But it also shows the passion, shows their commitment to wanting to get better. So it all remains to be seen how Miami will pan out in the playoffs. I honestly think they're going to be a second round out. I don't think they're going to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals or anything like that. I think they play tough, but I don't think they're talented enough. That's just my opinion. But James Harden, does he look sluggish to you guys? Shockey says he's starting to slow down, I think. It's you may be onto something. Does James Harden need to be rested the final few games, the final handful of games before the playoffs? You know what I mean? Do we need to give him some TLC? You know what I mean? Some rest and relaxation? I don't know. But one thing I can say, we're going to really need guys like Tyrese Maxey to continue to be a threat on offense. Tyrese Maxey, once again, shooting great from the field. 8 for 14 from the field, 3 for 5 from the three-point line, made all his free throws, 7 assists, 1 steal, 5 boards. Yeah, 5 boards. So Tyrese Maxey is definitely being effective. He's clearly picking his spots, but I would love for Tyrese Maxey to be the main scorer from the perimeter because James Harden is clearly trying to be a distributor, which is fine. But I would love for Tyrese Maxey to take charge in certain respects, to take on that role, to take on that responsibility of being one of the leading scorers on the perimeter. Look, I'm glad. I like the scoring output from my starters. I would like Matisse Thybulle to do a little bit more. If Matisse Thybulle can average 10 points for us in the playoffs, I'm cool with that. Because when Matisse Thybulle scores double-digit points, we win most of the time. So he's a wild card as well. When people have to account for Matisse Thybulle cutting and actually making his shots from the perimeter, we're a very dangerous team. But Matisse Thybulle's value more so extends to the defensive side of the ball. Steals and blocks. He had 2 steals last night, 1 block. But overall, good team win. Shockey says, I would arrest him. Get Tyrese to get him on fire for the playoffs. Interesting. Very interesting. I would definitely rest James Harden in those final few games just to make sure he has his legs under when the playoffs start, because things are going to get critical at that time. But, overall, good win for the Sixers. Would have liked the win to be a little bit more dominant because we played the Lakers without LeBron, but we got to remind ourselves the Lakers may be a bad team, but they still got some names. They still got some hoopers on that squad. Russell Westbrook, Carmelo Anthony, Malik Monk. Who else? They got guys like Stanley Johnson. You know what I mean? They got some hoopers on that team. So let's not act like they're completely inept. They just had poor chemistry and play with poor effort. But overall, good team win for the Sixers. Shockey says, and this is going to be the last comment I read before I get into football. He says, because I think Tyrese Maxey would be the reason we won't choke in the playoffs. He seems confident all the time, and I almost never see him slow down. Absolutely, very good point. Tyrese Maxey plays with a very high motor, and I love that about him. He just has to continue to be aggressive and not be passive when James Harden is on the court. Now, let's transition to football, because there are some things to discuss when it comes to not only the NFL, but our Philadelphia Eagles. So let's talk about Howie Roseman. And yes, Howie Roseman is a topic of conversation damn near every day. Y'all know how the offseason gets. It gets a little slow after a while, but we're going to milk this for what it's worth. Howie Roseman. We've noticed that he's been reluctant to be aggressive. And with aggression comes risk. And with risk comes responsibility. But let's ask this question. Is Howie Roseman afraid to put his job on the line? Let's approach it from that perspective. Is Howie Roseman afraid to put his job on the line? Because let's be honest, when you're the GM, your responsibility is to provide the team, your coaches, with the most capable roster that leads to success. Your job isn't only to flex the cap and keep your team in a good financial situation. Your responsibility is also to make sure you're giving quality talent, giving your coaches quality players to get the job done. And to do so, every now and again, you have to take a risk. You have to, quote unquote, put your job on the line. And a lot of GMs are afraid to do that. Paralysis by analysis. Too often people move in ways because they want to protect their jobs. Too often people operate in a way that exudes self-preservation. Self-preservation is a good thing and it's a bad thing. Self-preservation is a gift and a curse. As humans, we naturally want to protect ourselves. We naturally want to protect our livelihood. We naturally want to protect the people we love. That's called self-preservation. It's innate in our brains. But when you have a certain responsibility, when you have to take a chance, and taking that chance can either lead to prosperity or lead to failure, that's the price of business. That's the price you may have to pay to get to the yellow brick road, to get on the other side of the hill. No risk it, no biscuit. You cannot live life afraid to take risk. You cannot live or play, you cannot be in your job or whatever role you have by not taking risk. Whatever your profession is. I used to work in the industry. I used to work for a company that was operating solely on self-preservation. I worked with people who solely operated from a self-preservation mindset, not operating for what's best for the people we serve or not operating from a position of what's best for the company or the people on the lower levels of the company. It's simply self-preservation. And that's not a way, in my humble opinion, to run a company, to only protect yourself and your own livelihood. As a leader of a company, as a leader of men, your job is to not only protect your livelihood, but protect theirs. Your job is to make sure your employees have all the resources they need to be successful. Your job is to make sure you have to put them in the best situation to be successful. And sometimes that comes with taking a risk. And Howie Roseman has not been willing to do that for several years. You guys want to know the biggest risk he's taken these past several years? You guys want to know? Matter of fact, I'll ask you guys, and then I'll tell you what I think. What do you guys think has been the biggest risk Howie Roseman has taken the past several years since he's been our GM? Matter of fact, let's throw him some bail, right? Since he took over after Chip Kelly, which was 2016. 2016 was the first draft Howie Roseman was fully in control of. That's when we got Carson Wentz. When do you guys think was the last time Howie Roseman took a risk? When do you guys think was the last time Howie Roseman put his job on the line? I already have my thought, but I want to know what y'all think. Nikki Steve says Howie is afraid of taking major risk, and he is cheap. He tries to take the best, cheapest players. I feel that cheapness is another factor. Excuse me, you guys. Shaggy says, Tone, what position would you want if we don't get linebacker in the draft? Edge rusher, and safety. Shockey says, I don't remember him even taking a risk. Shockey says, maybe the 2017 season, I guess. Okay, you have a timeline, but what move in particular in 2017 do you think? Was it trading for Jay Ajayi? Was it, bringing in guys like Rodney McLeod and LeGarrette Blount? Like, what do you think was the risk that he took these past since 2016? What has a risk that he's taken? Sharky says maybe 2017. Okay. Eben Brown says either Hurts or Rager. Okay. All right. You guys want to know what my thought is on his biggest risk? The biggest risk Howie Roseman took since being the full-time GM of the Philadelphia Eagles was trading Carson Wentz, a man that you gave $35 million a year to. You traded him to the Colts, to his former OC, and you traded him for a conditional first-round pick. And there was no guarantee that it was going to be a first-round pick. There were so many nuances surrounding that trade that could have either went left for us or went right for us. It obviously went right. We had the Colts first-round pick, but that is the biggest risk I've ever seen him take. Why is that the biggest risk? Because think about everything that came with it. You committed so much to Carson Wentz. You traded him. And you gave him so much money. And you took the dead cap hit, the largest dead cap hit in NFL history. That's a risk. And you brought in the second-round quarterback, Jalen Hurts, to fill in the shoes the following season. That's a risk. But Howie Roseman has not taken any risk since then. He's been very passive. And we expected him to kind of lay it out on the line this offseason because, especially in free agency, we thought he would make a move. We were going to have some money to spend. He made space to spend money. Restructuring Darius Slay. Bringing back Fletcher Cox on a 1-year, $14 million deal. Bringing Jason Kelce back on a $14 million deal, fully guaranteed. You can stretch that out. You can prorate that. But the slightest risk, if it's even a risk, was you bringing in Hassan Reddick, and that's not really a risk to me because the past 2 seasons he's shown that he's a proven product. That's not a risk. Even the contract isn't even a risk, right? Now, Howie Roseman, now let's move the conversation forward. He clearly has a plan. He's clearly living in 2025, 2026 when it comes to his decisions, his financial decisions. But what that plan is, I just don't know. Because the NFL draft is coming up. And we haven't made any significant moves in free agency besides signing Hassan Reddick, which I love, by the way. But we haven't made any significant moves this offseason thus far. The draft is coming up. We have 3 first-round picks. Will he take a risk and draft a quarterback? Kenny Pickett or Malik Willis? Or will he go all in on Jalen Hurts? You see, right now, if you want Jalen Hurts to be successful, or if you want to prove to the fan base, if Howie Roseman wants to prove it to you guys that he's all in on Jalen Hurts, he has to make decisions that says that. He hasn't done that. Drafted Devonta Smith last year, did that. You have to take it a step further. You have to make a move in free agency. You didn't go get Juju Smith-Schuster. You didn't go get Robert Woods or Allen Robinson or OBJ or Jarvis Landry or Julio Jones, AJ Green, or any of these wide receivers. You didn't make yourself a player for Tyreek Hill. Granted, he was looking for the big payday. And the way we scheme, the way we play football, our team is a run heavy style offense. So I can understand maybe why a big time wide receiver wouldn't want to come here. It's not conducive to their success. But Howie Roseman, money talk. You put the blank check on the table. These guys gonna come anywhere you need them to go. So all I'm saying is, Howie Roseman, make a move that makes us that shows us that you're trying to give Jalen Hurts the best possible chance to succeed. Now, look, in order for Jalen Hurts to succeed, what has to improve? The wide receiver room. Devonta Smith is your best wide receiver. You still have Quez Watkins, who overachieved this past season. I'm pretty sure he's going to take another step forward. You have a guy like Zach Pascal you brought in, who knows how good he'll be. You have J.J. Whiteside, who's been a failure. You have Jalen Reagor, who's ultimately been a failure. You brought back Greg Ward, who's been a consummate professional, who's been Mr. Reliable, but isn't dynamic enough to be a number 2. So where do we go from here? Besides Devonta Smith and Quez Watkins, the Eagles need a big body wide receiver. Right? What do you guys think the Eagles need at wide receiver? What type of wide receiver? I say a big body wide receiver. Now, look, I'll approach it from this perspective. Devonta Smith gives you route running and separation. Quez Watkins, he gives you speed. Now you need someone who's going to give you the possession catches, the contested catches, someone who's going to be able to move the chains on a consistent basis. And that's when your big body wide receiver comes in. You need someone who's going to be able to move those chains on a regular basis. So you know what I say? Since the Miami Dolphins traded for Tyreek Hill and they signed Cedric Wilson to a 3-year contract and they drafted Jalen Waddle in last year's draft, go get Devontae Parker. They have no use for him anymore. You can probably get Devontae Parker for the low. He was injured last season. He only has 2 years left on his contract, as a matter of fact. To be specific, Devontae Parker has an $8.7 million cap hit in 2022 and a $9 million cap hit in 2023. But also, here's another thing that makes it even more beneficial. Let's say you decide to cut him at any point in 2022 or 2023. In 2022, he has a $5 million dead cap hit if you decide to cut him prematurely. In 2023, if you decide to have him on a yearly rental and you decide to cut him, it's only a $2.7 million dead cap hit. So trading for Devontae Parker is what you call a low-risk, high reward type of situation because he's looking to bounce back from his injury-riddled season last year. He's looking to bounce back. He hasn't had a 1,000-yard season since his 2019 year. Devonta Parker, overall for his career, has underachieved. I would say that. But sometimes a new change of scenery can revitalize a guy. Devonta Parker is only, 27, 28 years old? Let's make sure we got that right. 29 years old, excuse me. 29 years old. He's been in the league for 7 years. Went to Louisville. First round pick, 14th overall. Devonta Parker will provide that much needed veteran presence in the wide receiver room. He's 6'3", 220 pounds. He's what you need. Someone who can move the chains. Someone who can get the contested catches. You know what I mean? Like I said, you have your route runner who can get separation with Devonta Smith. You have your speedy wide receiver in Quez Watkins. Now you need your big body wide receiver who can move the chains, get those possession catches, those contested catches. Let's be honest. Every time Devonta Parker played us, he cooked us. Every time Devonta Parker played the Eagles, what has he done? Over 100 yards, a touchdown. He's always put us on a platter. It's time for us to get him on this team, and we need some of that production, right or wrong. Right or wrong, you guys. Now, let's look at some of these comments because Shockey says DK Metcalf might or might not. The Seahawks might or might not keep DK Metcalf. They're going into rebuild mode. But look at it like this: the Seahawks said they're going to exhaust every option to keep DK Metcalf. That's code for we're willing to trade him for the right price. Like y'all said, the Seahawks are in rebuild mode. So if we trade for DK Metcalf, you know he's looking to get paid. He's looking to get paid. And the way this team is set up, we don't need DK Metcalf to be the most extravagant route runner. We need him to make contested catches down the field in the intermediate. We need him to be a big body that can move the chains. We got Devonta Smith who can run the full route tree and be dynamic in that regard. It has amazing footwork. We got the speedy wide receiver who can beat you downfield in Quez Watkins. We need someone who can make the possession catches. Someone who's going to be that big body, that force, bring that swag, that juice to the wide receiver room. DK Metcalf can be that guy. The question becomes, and it always will be until we find out otherwise, can Jalen Hurts get the ball to these guys effectively and efficiently? You know, Jalen Hurts threw for just over 3,100 yards this season. But where do we see him going after that? How much does he need to improve? As a matter of fact, give me a stat prediction for Jalen Hurts this season, you guys. I want to know how y'all feel. We got 8 people on the live stream. Make sure you guys hit that like button. I'd be so grateful for that. Really helps the show grow. I appreciate you guys for being a part of Chalk It Up Sports Daily. This show is nothing without you guys. Like I said, I'm giving you guys daily doses of Chalk It Up Sports. Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. You guys don't want to miss it. The show is getting better and better. The love is always felt with you guys. Make sure you guys like the content. Make sure you guys share the content as well. Make sure you guys also are subscribed. Content is constantly flowing from Chalk It Up Sports. Shaki says maybe they will try to trade DK back to back for picks. Back to us for picks. Maybe. The Black Line says, we're getting Garrett Wilson. We may have to trade him up for him, but we're getting him. How big is Garrett Wilson? Someone give me Garrett Wilson's measurables. Garrett Wilson is the Ohio State wide receiver, right? Give me Garrett Wilson's measurables. I need to know what he brings to the table from a measurable standpoint. I heard he's one of the most talented wide receivers in the draft. But how tall is Garrett Wilson? How much does he weigh? I need to know those things because we don't need another guy who's 5'11", 6 feet, weighs only about 200, 190 pounds. We need to know how tall he is. Oh, Black Line, you funny as hell. My bad, man. That went over my head. My bad, player. My bad. Black Line, fuck you, my guy. That's hilarious. But yeah, I need to know. Okay, 6 feet, 192 pounds. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about that. I just don't know. I need somebody that's about 215, 220, 6'2", 6'3". I'm sorry. But like I said, you guys, what are your expectations for Jalen Hurts coming into the season? What do you guys think he's going to put up numbers wise? And I'm not talking about running. We all know what he's going to do from a running perspective. We all know Jalen Hurts is going to run out the damn arena. We all know that. I want to know what you guys expect from him when it comes to his passing. Because that's what's going to move the needle for us when we get in the playoffs. You feel what I'm saying? All that running that quarterbacks do throughout the regular season, that slows down in the playoffs. These defenses, they're going to make you beat them with your arm. It's the reason why Lamar Jackson hasn't won a playoff game. It's a reason for that. Because he still isn't where he needs to be as a passer. But the Black Line says Garrett Wilson is 6 feet, 192, super explosive. He said he wants to play for us. I don't care what he said. Like, Garrett Wilson had 10-inch hand size, 4.38 40-yard dash. That is pretty explosive. I'll give you guys that. But what's the game speed? You know what I mean? Does he play bigger than what he is? You know what I mean? I need to know those things. The Black Line says 25 plus passing touchdowns, 3,400 passing yards, maybe 10 picks. Okay. That's pretty realistic. The reason I ask you guys is because sometimes the content creators get accused of being haters of Jalen Hurts. But the reality is we want that man to do well. That's the biggest thing. I want Jalen Hurts to do well. I want him to have the best possible chance to succeed as the quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. But in my humble opinion, you know what I need from Jalen Hurts? And maybe I'm asking for a lot. But you know what I need from Jalen Hurts? I need 30 passing touchdowns minimum. I need over 4,000 yards passing. And I need him to complete 65% of his passes. If he can do that, hey, we might got one. Because you know what that tells me? That means that he's improved in his pre-snap reads. He's improved with taking advantage of what the defense gives him. He's seeing the field better. He's getting the ball to his guys accurately and effectively. He's not just taking off and running. You know what I mean? So for me, in order for Jalen Hurts to show me that he is that dude for us, I need 30-plus passing touchdowns. I need over 4,000 passing yards. I need that. It's just that simple. What's going on, Michi? You all good, my man? We got about 15 more minutes left in the show. It's all right. You can always double back and rewatch. The Black Line says Lamar Jackson threw 39 touchdowns in his second season. That led to NFL the year he won MVP. That's cool. But what happened in the playoffs? Black Line? And that's all I'm saying. You know, I'm not taking nothing away from his stats. I'm not taking nothing away from that. But what happened in the playoffs, man? What happened in the playoffs? Black Line says, bro, the only quarterback to ever do that in Philly was Carson Wentz. Laughing my ass off. Y'all just saying anything. Not really. We're not just saying anything. You want to know why? Because the expectations are high. Y'all want this man to be franchised. Let me ask you, Black Line, do you believe, or do you want rather Jalen Hurts to be franchised? Answer that question for me. Do you want him to be franchised? Do you want him to be the quarterback for the future, or do you actually want to move on from Jalen Hurts? I need to know where you stand so I can properly digest your point. Because Yeah, Carson Wentz threw for over 4,000 yards, and he literally didn't have a wide receiver go for over 500 yards. That's amazing. That's a hell of a stat. That's a hell of a stat. But I need to know. Okay, so the black line. Okay, you said you believe he has what it takes, right? So why not keep the expectations where we need them to be? Look, all right, I put guard, y'all. All right, let's look at it like this, right? Let's look at it like this. I said I need 4,000 passing yards a season. Okay, look, let's do it this way: 4,000 passing yards, right? 4,000. Let's do the math. 4,000 passing yards, and I said I need 30 touchdowns. So let's just say Jalen Hurts throws 4,000 passing yards in a 17-game season. Let's say he plays all 17 games. He doesn't get hurt. 4,000 yards in a 17-game season. That's only 235 passing yards, y'all. You mean to tell me he can't average that? You know, now there are going to be some games where you might throw 199. There might be some games where you throw 300. But you mean to tell me Jalen Hurts can't average 230 passing yards a game as a quarterback in the NFL? That's below league average. I don't think we're just saying anything. If y'all believe he has what it takes, he needs to be able to throw. That's all I'm saying. I mean, that's what I'm saying, you guys. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. It's not Kool-Aid we drinking. I love Dan Sileo. That's my man. I love him. I love Dan Sileo, one of my favorite content creators. I love that man. But let's be totally real about it, you guys. 230 passing yards? Okay, Black Line, what are your expectations then? I need to know, Black Line, what are your expectations? Michi says, I got Hurts going for 4,000 yards, 29 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Okay. Shockey says, Garrett Wilson stats of 70 receptions, over 1,000 yards, 12 touchdowns, 15 yards per reception. Black Line believes that Hurts has what it takes. Bro, we're not talking about for Philly. We're talking about in the NFL. His standing in the NFL, man. Y'all want him. Okay, listen. Are y'all set? Listen. Are we satisfied with just making the playoffs, or are we trying to win the Super Bowl? What are we trying to do? This is the problem. What are our goals as a city, as a franchise? This is the problem we have. What are our goals? Because if Jalen Hurts is going to be franchised, he needs to crack at minimum 4,000 yards. He cracked 3,100 yards. You mean to tell me he can't give you another 900 yards of offense? Come on, y'all. Come on. What do y'all want? Y'all comfortable with just winning the division, or do y'all want to win a Super Bowl? Let me know now so I can adjust my expectation from you guys. Let me know. Because the way I see it, as a quarterback in the NFL, you got to throw that pill. You got to let that rock spin. I understand Jalen Hurts is a dynamic athlete and he brings a lot to the table when it comes to running the ball and so on and so forth. Black Line, I'm not pushing the narrative. I gave you an expectation. It's a difference. Not once did I say he can't throw. I never said that. I said he has to improve, but I didn't say he couldn't throw. I never said that. I never said he couldn't throw. Is he one of the better throwers? No. I never said he couldn't throw. The only narrative I'm pushing is that I want him to do well. And that's what people are failing to understand. That's not been understood. The Black Line says Donovan McNabb never cracked 4,000 yards for us. Neither has Jaws, neither has Vic, neither has Cunningham. But now Jalen Hurts got to do that. You nuts. And guess what? None of them won the Super Bowl. None of them won the Super Bowl. So what are we saying? What are we saying? None of them won the Super Bowl. You proving my point. You're proving my point. Donovan McNabb underachieved. Michael Vick's play style was never going to throw 4,000 yards. And he was on the downslope of his career. You're proving my point, Black Line. I'm aiming for chips. I'm not aiming just to be relevant. I'm aiming for chips. I don't know about you, Black. I don't know if you just want to be talked about. I don't know if you're just comfortable winning division pennants or just making it to the playoffs, my guy. You said Donovan McNabb never cracked 4,000 yards. But let's keep it real. Donovan McNabb underachieved. He kicked his best chance at the Super Bowl off the door in TO. Come on now. Come on. See, y'all, you know what it seems like to me? It seems like the Black Line is comfortable with being mediocre. That's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like he's comfortable. That's what it sounds like to me. He sounds comfortable. Not me. Not me. Not me, man. I'm not comfortable. Listen, you gave me a taste of a Super Bowl. That's the worst thing you could have did. You gave me a taste. That's the worst thing you could have did was give me a taste of a Super Bowl. And look, I don't want to seem like I'm going at you, Black Line, because I respect you and I appreciate you for coming on the show. That's the one thing. That's the last thing I want this to come off as. You know, I want you guys to know that I really appreciate you guys. So I'm not going at Black Line. We're having healthy debate because you know what? We both want the best for our franchise, right or wrong. I think we all can agree that we all want the best for the Philadelphia Eagles, right? A show of hands. Let me know. We all want the best for this team. We all want this team to succeed. I'm pretty sure Black Line wants to win a Super Bowl. I'm pretty sure. But with the way the league is trending, in order to do so, you got to have somebody that can throw that rock. And I believe Jalen Hurts can improve. I believe Jalen Hurts has all the tools to be great. I believe that. But how great will always be the question. I want Jalen Hurts to do well. I don't think anyone's panicking if we're just giving him expectations. You see, he made it to the playoffs playing the way he did last year, right? So that's the floor for me. That's the floor. You dig what I'm saying? The team went 9-8. He went 8-7 because he missed 2 games. But regardless, he helped his team go 9-8. Made it to the playoffs. He threw for over 3,100 yards, rushed for over 700 yards, threw 16 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. That's unacceptable. The 16 touchdowns and 9 interceptions is unacceptable. He ran for 10 touchdowns, though, 26 touchdowns total. But when you get into the playoffs, you guys, y'all got to see what I'm seeing. When you get into the playoffs, being a running quarterback only gets you but so far. We know this. I want Jalen Hurts to be the best. I want him to take his game to a level that we didn't even see. I want him to surpass all our expectations. But we have to put things in its proper place. Like I said, ain't nobody going at each other in this live chat. We just having healthy debate, and we all want this team to do well. We just all have different philosophies about how we want this thing to get done. But in order to be great, in order to make it to the top of the mountain, everybody got to do their part. Football is a team sport. So the game goes beyond just the quarterback position. Everyone else has to do their job. But it begins and ends with that quarterback position, though. You got one drive to win it all. And you can't run the ball. Can Jalen Hurts win the game? He has to show us that. You feel what I'm saying? He has to show us that he can win the game if the running game is not working. That's all I'm saying. I think that's a fair expectation. I think that's a fair request. I have the utmost faith in Jalen Hurts. I believe Jalen Hurts can be. I actually think, and this may not be saying much, but I believe this may not be saying much, but I believe Jalen Hurts is top 10 in the NFC. And I know that's not saying much because all the quarterbacks are in the AFC. But yesterday, I put Jalen Hurts in my top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. I had Aaron Rodgers number 1, Tom Brady number 2, Matthew Stafford number 3, Dak Prescott number 4, Kyler Murray number 5, Jimmy Garoppolo number 6, Kirk Cousins number 7, Jameis Winston number 8, Carson Wentz number 9, and Jalen Hurts number 10. So I put him in the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFC. I think he can be top 5 if he plays his cards right. And that's my only thing, you guys. I have no doubt in his mindset. I have no doubt in his resilience. I have no doubt in his work ethic. I don't doubt him as a man. I don't doubt him as a leader of men. I don't doubt his passion. I don't doubt his competitiveness. But that all needs to materialize on the field when it comes to pre-snap reads, post-snap reads, getting the ball to his guys, throwing guys open, throwing with anticipation. He doesn't have an arm strength issue, you guys. I don't think Jalen Hurts has an arm strength issue. I feel like his arm strength is just fine. It's the anticipation he doesn't throw with. He has a lot of room to grow. But let's be honest, you guys. In this NFL, they're not giving guys 5-6 years to prove it when you're a quarterback. They're not. You saw what they did with Baker Mayfield. Y'all saw what the Browns did with Baker Mayfield. They gave that man 5 years, I think, or 4 years. They gave him 4 years, and they say he's not the guy. Listen. I'm talking to you guys based on how the league is moving, not how I wanted to go, not how you wanted to go. How the league is trending. They're not giving quarterbacks 5, 6, 7 years to develop. They're not doing that. Y'all need to pay attention for what the league is and not for what y'all want it to be. The Black Line says Hurts is 23 and has never had the same OC for consecutive seasons. We building something over here. We had a top 10 offense with a first-year starter who supposedly can't throw and a rookie head coach. I hear what you're saying. He's young and he has a lot of room. And he has a lot of space to grow. I hear what you're saying, Black Line. He's never been in a stable situation. I completely understand what you're saying. I actually agree with you that he's young, has a lot of room to grow, and he's never been in a stable situation. I give that man the utmost respect for dragging his team to the playoffs as is. Nobody thought the Eagles were going to make the playoffs. Let's keep it real. We didn't even win the division. Like, nobody thought we was going to win. Nobody thought we was going to make it to the playoffs. So I give Jalen Hurts the utmost credit for that. But that happened already. And we saw what we saw in that wild card exit. He couldn't find a single coverage. He struggled. So we can't deny that he has a lot of room to improve on. Just how we acknowledge the things he's done, we have to acknowledge the things that he has yet to do. He has to improve. And yes, he's young. But like I said to you guys, the NFL, these organizations are not giving these quarterbacks 4, 5, 6, 7 years to develop. They're just not. Because you want to know why? They understand the fact that at some point you got to pay these guys. And when you start to lock up too much money in the quarterback position before the rookie deal is done, it makes it hard to rebuild your roster outside of that. Why do you think the Chargers are going all in while Justin Herbert is on his rookie deal? Why do you think the Bengals are going all in while Burrow is on his rookie deal? You feel what I'm saying? Why do you think the Jags are trying to do as much as they can for Trevor Lawrence while he's on his rookie deal? Why do you think the Arizona Cardinals went and got D-Hop for Kyler while he was on his rookie deal still? Because they understand that at some point you got to pay these guys. And you need to determine if he's the guy or if he's not within about 3 to 4 years. So Jalen Hurts is in his third season. The third year of his contract. He's going to be asking for a payday at some point. He needs to show that he's the guy this year. Otherwise, we're going to be stuck in purgatory. Will we pay him for being just above average? Or will we move on from him? We need to know how good he is this season. We don't have the time to figure out if he's going to be good at the age of 30. We don't have the time. We don't have the flexibility for that. This is not the NFL of old, where you're grooming guys 5, 6, 7. No, this isn't that anymore. We got to move on from that. But the show has been great, you guys. The show has been great. The show has been absolutely great, you guys. And we have talked about so many different things. And I appreciate all the love you guys have been giving me. This show has been absolutely a blessing to me. You guys have truly, truly been troopers in this. Like, I love all the opinions, you guys. You guys are so dope. And I want you guys to know something, that it's all love with me. All love. This ain't hate. This ain't no ill will towards the next man. We all want this team to do well. But in order for us to do well, we need the quarterback position to really be top notch. And I love you guys so much, man. I appreciate you, the Black Line. I appreciate you, Eddie Holmes. I appreciate you, Shockey. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you, Michi. Who else was in the building? I appreciate you, Ryan Rowe. I appreciate you, Eben Brown. I appreciate the Big Stepper Podcast. I appreciate you, Double R, CG Ruthless Sports. I appreciate all the love y'all been giving. Nikki Stees, y'all been showing a lot of love, and I appreciate, man. Like I said, Chalk It Up Sports is coming at you daily, Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure you guys keep it locked. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed also. If you're not, I'd be so grateful for that. Like I said, Chalk It Up Sports Daily will be back tomorrow, Friday, at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. I'm your humble host, Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got charges to the game. One love, stay humble, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay home.